Congratulations on reaching part 2 of the video. Now moving on. As I was saying, free cash flow is important because it allows a company to pursue opportunities that enhance shareholder value. Changes in it can indicate that the company increased or decreased its capability of fulfilling its responsibilities with their shareholders or even of investing in its operations. As can be seen by the last 3 years, Coke's free cash flows have declined a lot. This can happen mainly by two factors. Either Coca-Cola has invested in its operations or the capital available to pay investors has actually declined. To answer this question, we have to look at the EVA, which is the economic value added. It is a measure of a company's financial performance based on the residual wealth calculated by deducting its cost of capital from its operating. If the EVA is greater than or equal to 0, this means that the company has enough money to pay its creditors. So a decrease in free cash flow is not necessarily negative, as the company could be investing. However, observing the large falls in Coca's EVA and FCF, it can be concluded that the generation of shareholder value has actually decreased. The DuPont analysis is another good way of understanding a company's financials, as it basically breaks down the return on equity into its constituent components to determine which of these components is most responsible for changes in ROE. The first of the constituent components is the profit margin, which gives just how much of the total sales were converted into profits. In this sense, Coke's profit margin shows that 15.59% of all revenues became profit. The second of these points is the asset turnover ratio, which demonstrates just how effectively the company is using its assets to bring in money. In Coke's case, the asset turnover ratio is of 48%, which is understandable given its high fixed assets. The third and final component is the equity multiplier, which gives us the efficacy of the company in using its own capital to finance its assets. Multiply all three and then you get the return on equity. There is no point, however, analyzing each of the components individually. That is why we will look at their evolution through time. Analyzing Coke's DuPont equation, the growth in return on equity is noticeable throughout the 3 years. It can be explained by the increasing leverage, which we can see in the decreasing value of the equity multiplier. Because Coca-Cola has been dependent on leverage, it may carry a moderate degree of risk, since the bulk of its assets are financed through debt. However, even given the increase in financial leverage, the return on equity diminished in 2016. The operational profit margin is the greatest responsible for that, as the EBIT margins are declining. The EBIT decline is explained mainly because of Coca's revenue, that have steadily declined since 2014. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the cash conversion cycle. It measures how fast a company can convert cash in hand to inventory, accounts payable, and then back into cash. This reflects the effectiveness of the company's administration, and thus the firm's overall health. Its calculation involves three factors, which are the DSO, or Day of Sales Outstanding, DIO, or Days of Inventory Outstanding, and DPO, Days Payable Outstanding. The first of them, which is Day Sales Outstanding, is the number of days needed to collect on sales. As it involves accounts receivable, the only way to have a DSO of 0 is to promote cash-only sales. The smaller the number, the better. A DSO of 34 signifies that Coke takes a bit more than 1 month to collect all of the money from the sales and accounts receivable. The DIO is the number of days it takes to sell the entire inventory. As with the DSO, the smaller the better. A DIO of 62 means that Coke takes a little bit more than 2 months to sell their entire inventory. Finally, to calculate the cash conversion cycle after adding up the DSO and DIO, you have to subtract the DPO, which is Days Payable Outstanding, or the average number of days for payments or bills or accounts payables. To check out the conclusions about the cash conversion cycle, log into the next video.
Created using Powtoon.